Every creator only needs a website to be free. He is the head of creator relations at Google. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Paul Bakaus!
Alright, hey everybody. Wouldn't it be amazing if I was Scottish by coincidence, with that opening? No, I'm not, but that would be really cool, right? I'm really excited to be here. I'm Paul, and today, in the agenda, this talk is titled Google for Qriket, right? But that's not the actual title of the talk. The actual title of the talk is Extending Your Creator Shelf Life from 5 to 50 years. Okay, they're probably like, oh, what do you mean by 5 years? Am I kicking the bucket in 5 years? And if you're like me or Ryan Reynolds, you're like, you go from researching cramped on WebMD on the web to coffin shopping in under 90 seconds, right? So, no, okay, right? But whose fault is that? Well, this guy. This guy did a quote in a Vibely study about burnout and said, you have a shelf life of 5 years. Use it wisely. So, okay, here's what I did, right? Of course, I went all Indiana Jones on him. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to research immortality. I'm going to go all the way, find the Philosopher's Stone. I'm going to find the elixir of life. I'm going to figure out how we're going to all be immortal. And he's like, well, not literally. I'm not talking literally. Okay, now what he's talking about, of course, is burnout. So it's been pretty hard these last couple of years to stay on top of everything that's been going on social, on creation, right? Feed algorithms have taken over consumer tech. Our platforms on your audience, content has much shorter shelf life, etc. So if I'm thinking about something bleak, what really helps me? I turn it into a game. So let's do this. Let's play the creator game of life. Okay. So what do we need for a game? Well, first, we need a year timeline. Okay, we have 1 to 5 years. Great, that's our starting point. After 5 years, we're all going to be done. We have strategy, and strategy for most people when they start out are just brand deals, right? Brand deals. And we have a game board, and then we have our random character, So let's just bring in this random character here. And so this random character is our protagonist in the game, and he starts with 5 life. Goes on, the course of his 5 years, not so good anymore. And at the end, okay, complete meltdown. Great. Now, here's the thing though. That was not always life of a creator. So let's go back 20 years. 2002. How did the world of creation look like in 2002? Well, this is what I looked like in 2002. So while I was busy auditioning for NSYNC, apparently, I don't know, what else happened in the world? Well, Ben Affleck is people's sexiest man alive. Frugal just became a thing. Nickelback's How You Remind Me is topping the charts. Kelly Clarkson wins American Idol in America. Low-rise jeans at a peak of fashion. Man, that was a year. But wait, what does that have to do with anything that we're talking about here? Well, let's look at the internet. What did the internet look like in 2002? Well, it took an average of 12 minutes to download a song on a 56K modem. And it took 16 seconds for one page to load. Now, about 500 million people were online. Now that sounds a lot, right? But it's not. It's just 9% of the world's population. So, not everyone was online. The most popular websites were AOL, MSN. The most popular social network was Friendster. And so, web surfing was still a thing. In fact, to enter a new blogging categories appeared. Mommy bloggers appeared. And Gawker appeared, ushering the era of gossip blogs and lounges. And Technorati was a game engine just for blogs, right? And it was very popular at the time. Newsweek actually predicted that blogs would replace traditional media. Can you imagine that? It was the world of creators, but creators were in a different place. Bloggers were the OG creators. Okay, back to the day. Guess who's still around? Bloggers. Bloggers are still around. Yay! Thank you. So most of you probably have not worried about blogging. And when I ask most of you, and ask you, what does Blogger make in a month, right? Let's say individual blogger, right? individual blog, what do they make in a month? What can they make? Like the web, it's the web, come on. Well, this was from 2016, an income report from this blog. It's $95,000. So blogging is not dead. This was 6 years ago. They're still very much alive and kicking and much more successful than before. There's a lot of money in websites. But I get it. Websites are not cool anymore. And it seems really hard to get started, right? You need to be more friendly, you need social media optimization, advanced SEO, you need cookie banners and all sorts of craziness, right? So that sometimes feels like a giant FU. I get it. You don't want to make a website, so you're going to Instatalk instead. Cool. Well, it turns out, contrary to popular belief, social media did not solve all the world's problems. Who would have figured? So let's go back to our game. What can we do then to extend our shelf life? Well, how about a newsletter? Okay, newsletter, that sounds pretty good to me. And in fact, yes, newsletters are good, but they're not an end-all solution, right? The tech is pretty archaic, but we're going to extend our shelf life by just a little bit. Great. Now that's not 50 years, we want to get to 50 years. How about the metaverse? The metaverse sounds great, right? Well, it turns out, same problems, just with VR goggles. Okay, that doesn't solve it. How about Web 3? And so this is a little bit of a teaser. I'm going to do a shameless plug here. In 2 hours, I think, we're having a debate about this topic. It's going to be wild. And I'm going to be here, and here's the thing. I'm going to be anti-Web 3. Yeah. So, here's why. Because usually, at this point in this presentation, somebody would go to me and say like, man, I knew it. Our JPEGs are going to save the world. I knew it, right? They're going to save the world. But it turns out, maybe not. Maybe not. Crypto is too early. And the ideas of crypto, decentralization, control, ownership, they're all great. But nobody knows what a wallet is. No, not ready. So, similar deal. We end up with the same game, but with laser eyes. Okay. They go, whoa, okay. You're telling me all the things that don't work. Like, come on, what is this talk here? This is just negative. Well, it turns out websites don't suck as much as you might think. That's the first thing. It's actually easier to get a website than ever before. You can start with a link in bio. That's a website. You now have a presence on the web. You can go to Wix or Squarespace. You get a website. You can go all on WordPress or whatever, right? If you want to be advanced. But honestly, just register your domain. It takes 5 minutes. You have a website. And then canceling your social media accounts is also not the best idea, right? There are people that are telling you to go all into the Web3 universe, the metaverse, and then drop everything else. That's not very smart, because you're going to throw away everything you've built in the past, and you don't optimize for distribution. So what you actually have to do is go from active income to passive income. And so active income, you probably noticed, but it's really helpful to think about it again. Regular content, sponsored posts, product endorsements, handmade products. All these things you have to actively work for, and they don't scale. It doesn't matter if you have 1 million followers, 10 million followers, 100 million followers. They don't scale. You put a brand post out there, in an hour, in a day, it's gone. But passive income scales. Ads and affiliate links, courses, NAS Academy, license royalties, digital products, paid downloadable content, brand-driven merch. All of that matters. And what I also want to speak about is the power of intent. So the power of intent is powerful and not necessarily true for most social media. Most social media, you browse on a feed. Right? You don't search for something. But if you search for something on Google, like for instance, Filipino-style spaghetti recipe, that user has intent to find something. And if they click on your link on the search engine, they're already invested, and they're not going to go wayward. So the same way a newsletter is at the bottom of a funnel, and an email list, you have to think about your website in the same way. It doesn't matter that it doesn't get as much traffic. And we've talked a lot about repurposing content in those last 2 days, right? Repurposing content, I don't think is very smart. What you should do instead is think about a story that you want to share. I call this a content bundle. A story, research that story, whether it's a fashion shoot or something else, create vertical video, landscape video, photo shoot, etc. And then figure out how to turn it into things, right? You turn it into a blog post, turn it into shorts, you turn it into social media, into podcasts, into YouTube videos. But that's really how you drill down, as opposed to just reusing every content on social media. So, great. raise our game a little bit more. And now we live maybe 50 years. But even better is social as top of funnel and web as destination. So audience on social and then fans on your website. And a lot of companies do this really well. For instance, Corridor Digital. They have who here knows Corridor Digital on YouTube? Okay, a few. So they're a VFX studio, and they create these really cool reaction videos, and it's amazing. Let's check them out. But here's one thing. They plug their website in almost every video. And their website is amazing. This is where their most invested fans go. And not only can they get paid content, extended editions of videos, they can vote on content that those guys create next. So it's participatory, it's community building. And that's where they implemented the 1,000 True Fans. Because how you get to $100 can be dramatically different depending on where you're coming from, what your strategy is. You can do it with ads on YouTube, on web, whatever. But also, it might just need one fan to pay $100 for an online course, right? Both of these options are extremely valuable and extremely valid, but the approach is different. So briefly, let's talk about 1,000 True Fans. This is very important. And it doesn't matter if you want to grow to 10 million followers. That's great, right? But 1,000 True Fans is the difference between an audience that follows you on one social media account, likes your content, and fans. These are the ones that build the backbone of your independence. That's really important. Because if you have 1,000 True Fans, you can reinvent yourself whenever you want, and they will stay because they are invested in you. And this could really be your main business model. I know a lot of people who have this as most of their income, right? They have a Patreon, 1,000 fans, make most of their income this way. And I really think that 1,000 fans that love you is more powerful than 1 million people that like your content. Yeah. And so this is how we scale. This is how we keep going. This is how we make our main character happy. So, as you notice, almost none of this was about Google. And you're like, what? Is this an advertising word? No, it's not an advertising. I'm confused. Okay, I'm going to advertise what we do slightly, all right? So this is here where we come in, right? If you want to have help leveling up as a content creator, we actually provide insights, education, and inspiration. Here's somebody you might know, looking at this talk. This is called the Creator Update. And so this is a news show that we release every week, 3-minute digest of the week in the creator economy. We come to everything that's happening in the creator economy. We release a 3-minute video every week on Thursdays, so you save time figuring out what's most important, most actionable to you as a content creator. Or if you want to learn about your content strategy, you can go to creators.google and learn all about how to set up your content strategy with bundling, with content bundles, with everything in links. If you want to learn by video, you can do that, right? So we have multiple creators that we work with on our channel that produce high-quality video on all sorts of topics, not just building a website, but also emotional help, how to deal with haters, how to do time management, how to stay organized, how to find your niche, etc. So all of this is here to help you level up as a content creator, because the fun thing is I don't have to say you anything, I just have to say you the power of the web. Because when you're on the web, we win, you win, everybody wins. So to summarize, I really think you should diversify your income sources and focus on growing passive income. You funnel your audience from social media into 1,000 True Fans on your website as a backbone. You know, that might not be your only strategy, but as a backbone. You stay focused on your goals with a dose of inspiration, education, insights, and don't get distracted by Web3, the metaverse, and so on. Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen.